This is another vlog update. Um, this one, I'm, my mom's staying here, and so she's homeless. So I'm giving her place to live, right? And it just makes it awkward. Like I don't really want to say. I don't want her to overhear me talking. It's always been like that, because I don't really trust her. Like I feel ashamed, embarrassed, angry at her for my childhood and everything, because it was really bad. Yeah, it's hard to trust her. And then what happened, I guess yesterday, was my brother. He he's having like an anxiety attack, or not attack, but like anxiety freak out in the morning yesterday, and he was texting me, and I was in the middle of praying and I saw it, and he was saying that he is worried he's gonna fail his class and he needs money for a tutor and all this. So I ended up sending him the money, but I said, like, this is just part of like your cycle. Like, I already sent you money before. He didn't even remember that. He's like, oh yeah, that's right, you did. I was like, yeah, I know. It's like part of your cycle. Like, he gets like amnesia and then repeats it. It's so annoying because she's like right there. And then I was mad at, I wasn't so much mad, but I was like being assertive to my mom about like why is that all going on? Because she was there and she was like a part of the conversation. And I said, like, well, it's you that caused this. Like, don't be don't talk around everything and be like you didn't have any part to play. Like, obviously it's you that caused this. Like, people have their own responsibility, but what they do affects other people, right? Especially when they're growing up. So that's why we all have anxiety as our parents, for a lot of reasons. Holy cow. And like, our dad wasn't there. He beat her up. I told her, like, those things affect you. It's not just like time passes and then they pass. It's like it's in your nervous system. It's like that's why your stress is so high. I gave her an Oura ring, because I had an Oura ring to use, and it just showed like her stress is like always high, and she's like, I don't even feel that stressed. It's high like 80% of the time. And then but yeah, that's just the level of delusion. It can get so strong. And I told her that. I said, it's because you're delusional. Like, if it doesn't match with reality, it's a delusion. You know what I mean? But that's kind of a bigger conversation. But also the same thing with my brother. His stress is like always high, and him too. He's like delusional as well. But it's kind of like this system that we're in, or this world that we're in. It feeds us like different stories to believe, and it makes us feel bad for believing other ones. Namely, it makes us feel bad for believing reality, and it encourages everybody to believe like fantasy and craziness. So if you say like, I think that the real story is that the West is in decline. Like, the Western civilization is declining. Canada's in decline, especially. There's a whole bunch of different things you could list that go along with that decline. But then you talk to people in the street and they're like, oh yeah, I gotta make money, right? And oh yeah, that's a good job. Yeah, I'm trying to get this job. And yeah, well, if I just had some more money, and oh well, if I just finish my degree, and if I just do this, and if I just do that. So it's like, people can't even see. They can't even see these things like mass migration. It's like they're vaguely aware of it, but they're like, we get hit, we get called names, we get hurt if we point it out, if we say anything, right? So it's become illegal. Not illegal, but chilled. Speech is chilled. And anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that I was helping out my brother and my mom, but it's hard because my role is confused, really. Like, I'm pushed into a role that I shouldn't even be in. Have been my whole life. That's why I'm kind of angry about it, very angry about it, because, I think there is a correct, let's say, a normal way for people to live, and a lot of people live that way, which is hence why it's normal. It's the norm. And when you're the youngest child, you shouldn't have to be looking after your parents when you're young. You shouldn't have to be, abused by your siblings. And then when you get older, like I'm 30 now, my brother's 37, my mom's 67. And then when you're older, you have to like be their parent. Like, what the fuck? What is that? You have to tell them like everything that's right. You have to be there to validate every single thing they say. They have anxiety attacks constantly. They're always freaking out. My mom won't deal with any problems. She lives in a car, or she was living in a garage. And it's like, winter's coming. This is Canada. And it's like, well, you can stay with me, like, but I'm saying, what's your more long-term plan? Do you have any long-term plan? Have you thought about it? Are you even able to talk about it? The answer to all those questions is no. They don't talk about these things. They don't say anything. In terms of plans, they try and like think about it to survive, and that's it. And they don't think about beyond that. And then I'm like, fuck, this is retarded. Like, it pisses me off. Like, but I'm kind of beyond that. Like, getting really mad like that. I'm just more like, okay, let's try and work and fix this problem. But I'm also beyond being nice, because that's doesn't do anything either. Like, being nice to them is just enabling, because the delusion is so strong, right? And when the delusion is that strong, you just become like a pawn in their larger chess game of survival, and in their chess game or whatever, you're just a piece, right? And they try and move you around. They're like, oh, well, he talks a lot, he says a lot of stuff, and he gets mad at me, and you know what, I don't like that, but I'm gonna go listen to whatever else makes me feel good. And then, oh, but I keep having anxiety attacks and everything, and I have to go to the hospital because I think I'm having a heart attack, but that doesn't matter, and I can just forget about that. And so they don't even actually think like that. It's more like a dissociation, fight, flight, freeze, fawn thing that happens whenever any kind of reality comes up, when any kind of conflict comes up. And that's just because they've been beaten down, People get beaten down and they're fucking down. They're really down. And they obviously don't want to be down, and they don't even want to like really acknowledge that they're down, because it's kind of like, it feels like a cycle to a lot of people, and it's painful, and people are more looking for like comfort. And so so anyway, but my whole thing now, I'm like, yeah, we're born, we suffer, we die, and we're judged, and we go to heaven or hell. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's going on in life. And then also, I'm much more honest now about just kind of like the state of the world and everything. I mean, yeah, so... But the thing is, too, is that nobody really asks your opinion on anything in Canada. They'll ask how you are. They'll say, hi, how are you? and they just expect you to say like, good, how are you? And it's like so fake. No one will ask you, hey, what's your opinion on Jesus Christ? Hey, what's your opinion on all the immigrants coming in? Hey, what's your opinion on Donald Trump? Hey, what's your opinion on the liberal government we have? So the discourse is so fried that it's you don't actually get the discourse. It doesn't even happen. Is my point. You know what I mean? People don't sit down and talk. Everybody looks at their phone and they're in their own world. That's my whole book idea. Is I'm writing this book about how people are living in different realities or separate realities. Effectively, that's what's happened because of so much psychological warfare, psychological manipulation. When they do all that stuff to us, which, the CIA and all these larger organizations that control media, Jewish controlled, all of these things that put the boundaries on what we can and can't see, and work on the algorithm and whatever. When they do all these things, it causes people to actually live in what I say different realities, right? So it's all working on our psychology, working on our nervous system, working on our thought processes in order to achieve an end. And the main thing that end is actually destabilization. They want people to fight. The elites want people to fight. There's like, I mean, there's a lot of elite families, but there's roughly like 10,000 elites, and then there's 8 billion people, which, often they consider as cattle, goyim, whatever. And they try and steer the 8 billion people like a herd. And so they use different inputs in order to achieve different ends. And I mean, they're very intelligent people. I believe that they're evil because they don't worship Jesus Christ. They don't follow him. So I pray for them that they would follow Jesus. And yeah, it's really terrible. Like, they do a lot of horrible things, like child sacrifice, and yeah, so it's really evil. But anyway, yeah, and this information is now all getting out there to people. So here's my next point. Nick Fuentes, he's becoming really big, which, I'm happy for him. I'm cheerleading him on. I'm watching his show. I consider myself to be a groyper now, a groyper. I've been watching him for only like maybe 7 months or something. But as soon as I heard him, I was like, it was like a blast of fresh air, because this guy was saying everything that's true. I think he's right on like 99% of issues, which is amazing, because a lot of people are wrong on a ton of issues, you know what I mean? So anyways, he's getting big now. And he did an interview with Tucker Carlson. It was a great interview. He's been on a bunch of podcasts and everything, and now his show is getting 50,000 live viewers a night, and he's getting articles written on him in major publications like New York Times and whatever else, Washington Post or whatever. They're always trying to smear him, but he said on his show last night, he broke through the first barrier, the first wall in a tiered city, and so they've retreated. They meaning like organized Jewry, the people who are quote unquote, or were quote unquote controlling the conversation, the bounds, the Overton window, what you could say and what you couldn't say. they've retreated. They've realized that they've lost the conversation, and it's simply because the young people don't care anymore. Like, and at least most of them, like the young, especially in the States, the young people, the young conservative men or young white men, they are going with Nick Fuentes' ideas and his message. It's a huge deal. So, yeah, so now they've retreated to their next level is the institutions, because they're like, we have, these ideas are big, but they're not in the institutions yet, is what they say, or what they think, and we have to keep them out of positions of power. We have to, whip anybody or make anybody bow down who's in an institutional position, who watches his stuff or believes in his stuff. They have to bow down to us, and they have to pledge their allegiance to Israel and the ideas of Israel, like Christian Zionism or whatever, dispensationalism. And yeah, it's not working out for them. It's a good thing. They think that they think that they think that they can stop it, but they can, because it's ideas, right? It's ideas, and all of their narratives. That's why my book's about narratives, right? Too, about these different realities. All these narratives are cracking. And I just think it's funny because, like, good. We've been waiting for this for years. Like, so like 10 years ago or whatever, or maybe like 12 years ago, I don't know, something around then, when I was young and going into, like leaving high school and Call of Duty lobbies and going into the world of work and whatever. And then university, all of this stuff was just getting like hammered onto us. like pounded into us that, white people are terrible, everything has to be more diverse, women are better than men, or women need to be equal than men, and white men need to shut up and let women speak. And we just been getting like fucking pounded ideologically for 10 years, you know what I mean, or longer. But it was just like feminism, radical feminism, communism, fucking like all these crazy ideas, multiculturalism, just getting beat into our heads since I was a kid. Like, holy shit. And I always knew it was retarded. Like, I always knew it was not really true, but they always get you on like a guilt factor, and they always just get you on a social control factor, right? They get the women to believe stuff or say stuff because women really uphold and conform to what the social norm is. So they change the social norm, get women to say it. Women are also will believe a lot of stuff based on compassionate grounds. This is all about this like suicidal empathy thing. So they get the women to believe it, and then the men, because they want to get laid, they start to nerf their ideas or conform their ideas to what women believe. They won't say they're more radical ideas, or not even radical, but like controversial ideas, because now it's a controversy, right? Because of they've changed the standard over the last 10 years. So now it's actually, people like to say a pendulum. So now it's like, it was like way, far left. Now it's starting to swing back, more to the right or to the center. And that's like a great thing, in my opinion, because it's normal and it's good for people to be able to have actual discourse on things and not just be afraid that they're going to get shouted down as a Nazi, bigot, anti-Semite, xenophobe, transphobe, whatever. It's like, that's why people compile so many like data points and stats and everything, and because they're like, well, science, this is the science. Can you please take a look at the science, and can you please take a look at the graphs? Can you please take a look at the data? You know, because what you guys are saying, this far left ideology, doesn't match with the data. So can you, I'm going to compile it so that, can you please just look at it? Meanwhile, no one on the left really gives a fuck. Women don't even understand stuff. Like, they just go along with the social norm, right? They want to fit in. Some women understand stuff. Very few. Because when I talk to women, they, it's like, it's really rare that they actually know hardly anything. And actually, I bet you there's a lot of women that probably do know some stuff, but yeah, it's brutal. So anyway, there's this window that's opened, and I think it's a good thing. But in Canada, it's not really opened. Canada's, I think, I don't like to say it, but Canada's really screwed. Like, Canada's really declining. But in the U.S., this conversation is changing, and it's really important that it is. So anyways, thank you, Nick. I'm praying for Nick. I pray for Nick. He's really doing amazing work, and it's refreshing to see. And it's just like, we needed somebody who didn't give a fuck. Like, I was in university and in working in the government and in social services, which was horrible, by the way. And you could not say anything. I worked with all women. I worked on an all-women team. I had a psychology degree. That didn't matter. It was always a battle against rationality or against morality, against Christianity. It was constant. It was like against the patriarchy. That's what it was. It was against white men. So I was working there, and there was all these women. Every boss was a woman, except for we got this one guy, but he was like a Weasley liar, and that was gross. That was awful, honestly. That guy was such a liar. He straight up lied, like, and yeah, what a liar, dude. And so yeah, I tried working, because that's like the standard path, right? And go to university, get a job, and whatever. And so I tried doing that, and it was brutal. It's totally brutal. Like, yeah, there's rainbow flags everywhere. There's like constant like training about like diversity and everything. They make you sign an oath that says you won't bring the government into ill repute, basically saying, shut up, be a good goy, agree with everything the government supports, and you'll get your little paycheck. And it's disgusting. So yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I want to mention as well, and I just want to mention this because I think it's kind of like important, more from like a human perspective, because I notice this, and I'm not trying to criticize Nick at all. I'm just saying this because it's like, I have a psychology degree, and I think about human behavior. And, he has been backstabbed so many times. He's been censored so long. He's been everything so long. So what everybody says to him a lot of the time is they say, like, you just need a girlfriend. You just need to be normal. You just need to have like a family, or they're kind of subtly implying like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you like us? Or why aren't you normal? Like trying to shame him and everything. And and they often try to take like that kind of moral high ground or parental role or whatever. Like I noticed that on the Tucker interview. I noticed that on the Patrick Bet David. Patrick Bet David, he was like this, He's like looking at Nick. He's like, yeah, man, you gotta tone it down. You gotta calm down the rhetoric, man. It's like, this is kind of what people do a lot of the time, even when they're wrong. You know what I mean? They try and some way, somehow, control the conversation and make people go along with, their narrative in some way, almost from like an egotistical point of view, because it's like they don't want to say like, okay, yeah, I was wrong on everything. Really need to rethink this, and could you explain more? Like, they don't want to say that. They want to be like, oh wow, I didn't really. Okay, well, would have to look at that more, but you really should tone down your rhetoric, and why don't you have a girlfriend? Like, fuck out of here. Like, people do this stuff all the time. It's really annoying, and yeah, it's basically functions on kind of like a fake ass societal narrative, and it's really annoying. Like, it's like, it's really annoying, and it's kind of like we want to hear more of the story that we want to hear, type of thing. Like at church, happens a lot, but it happens like subtly all the time. Like, people are always like, hi, how are you? Oh, and what do you do? Oh, really? And oh, okay. And then what are you gonna do next? And oh, wow, really? I didn't know that. Oh, okay. It's fucking annoying, man. It's like, it's stupid. So it's like, if you fit into the mold or whatever, you can kind of fly through, and it's fucking annoying. So anyways, I've been working on a book. So my book is about how people live in different realities, and it's coming along, and I'm soliciting feedback now because I have my draft done. And I want to, at this point, I want to finish the draft, solicit some more feedback, and then I want to work on the book more fully, but I kind of want to figure out, like, what can I do about not getting the idea completely stolen. Like, I want to put the book out for free, because my whole point with it is that I want to worship God. I want to get more people to worship God. And then the other thing, and this sounds weird, but it's kind of like a mating strategy as well, because I guess, yeah, I don't know, like, I don't really know how else to put that. But at the same time, I feel like I just need to trust in God and worship God, and that's the main thing. And then all the other stuff will happen according to God's plan. Because, like, I want a girlfriend, I want a wife, I want a family, right? So, yeah. Yeah, I know it sounds weird. But anyway, so that's the book. Well, the idea itself is that I just connect the Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins to Narrative Theory by Walter Fisher, and then I give support for both of them. And the support comes through, like, Gödel's incompleteness theorem. It comes through Donald Hoffman's interface theory. It comes through my own work on semantics, on how people hear the same word, but they have a completely different idea of what that word means. This is shown. We can see this in studies. And yeah, so that's kind of like the book idea. And then the other thing is that, well, I've been going to therapy, and my therapist is, she's pretty good, actually. She's kind of helping. Just the fact that she's kind of like supportive in a way. I mean, she's kind of like seems to be some sort of a centrist chameleon, where she plays different sides according to what other people think, which is fine. I understand that. It's kind of how I was. And politically I'm talking about. And so I'm just kind of like I explained the book idea, and she was finally kind of, it seemed, getting it. And I was like, this feels great. Somebody's finally getting my idea, So I said to her, I was like, I just want to see if it's retarded or not. Because, I don't want the book idea to just be, crazy nonsense retarded, right? That's kind of what I worry about a bit. And I also worry about it getting stolen, too. But I actually don't think it's that retarded. I don't think it's that crazy. And I think that it would... Actually, I think it's pretty solid. It's a good idea. And the purpose of it, I'm trying to stay away from is, I'm not trying to do it for, self-aggrandizement. I'm trying to do it to give glory and praise to God, because that's what's important in life. I'd like to get some more feedback on the book and continue working on it. And the other thing is that, I'm not dating right now, and I would really like to find a group, start getting involved in activities and group activities, maybe martial arts, maybe go back to running, if my back heals up, if my lower back hurts. I have some issue down there where it's painful, but maybe I go back to running, maybe I go back to whatever. But the point is to join a club or a group. I've been really looking for a Bible study. So hard to find one that I fit in with, right? I went to one, and it was one old guy and 3 Nigerians, middle-aged or older, and we're all Christians, and love thy neighbor, but there is I don't know, it is kind of difficult, I find, to find a group where I actually feel like I fit in, you know what I mean? Because, I don't know, it's just tough. So I'm gonna keep looking. I'm supposed to go to an Orthodox church has a presentation on angels in the liturgy on it's coming Saturday, so I'm gonna go to that, listen to it. Maybe they'll have a group there or something. And I'm a Catholic, but I'm okay with going to these other churches just to find faith building, Bible study, whatever, as long as people are open to having a discussion and trying to praise God. That's really important to learn more about the Bible. So that's important to me. And so I'm not really dating right now. I'm trying to find a group, especially a group of guys, because I feel like going just for women, straight for women, and then not having your other stuff going on in your life is kind of really difficult, because it doesn't really work. I mean, a lot of people are probably duh, doesn't work if they have your own life first. But I think a lot of people actually do that because we're lonely. If we're lonely, We want someone to be with us. We want to feel loved. We want connection and everything. We want someone to talk to and everything. And we want that intimacy. But if you just kind of like go straight for that, I don't know if that works, really. Hasn't worked for me, but maybe for other people it works. I doubt it. I always hear you're supposed to get your life together first, have your own life, be happy by yourself, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I'm actually kind of going that route more, focusing on my own stuff in a way. And let me say it's really hard because of that pervasive loneliness, because of all the childhood trauma, because of identity issues, because of blah, 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 blah. But yet, I think God is greater, God is good, and I pray every day to heal, and to my will be with God, and so I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to also stay humble, because the man who exalts himself will be humbled, and the man who humbles himself will be exalted. And I think the point of that is such a powerful message, but it's just that, we're here to serve God, right? And it's kind of a hard message to hear, because it's like everything we go out and do, and when people talk to us, they're always talking like kind of trying to find out about you, quote unquote, and everything about you and all the little details. And so it really makes people want to be like, yeah, I did this with my life, and look at me, I'm so impressive, and this is my life story and everything. It's like, all right, I mean, it's just confusing, because yeah, it's the undertone with all of that is people always want to like be friendly, and they want to be nice, and they want people to be happy, and they want everyone to be happy, and they want to laugh, and they want to make jokes, and they want to whatever. But it's like, where does all that come from? Well, all good things come from God. And what is the reality of our broader situation, the West, the world, and Canada? Like, it's crazy, like, so it's like everybody's kind of like, yeah, just sort of very fake now. But anyways, I'd like to get a group. I like activities where it's like a shared activity. We're still, doing it together, but we can kind of focus on the activity, and you can still have conversations, but we're kind of focused on doing the activity, and then, when that's done, we can go home, and then we can come back and meet again next week, right? So I think that's good. Yeah, so I'm just focusing on that right now, and then we'll see what happens. But I will say that the whole therapy thing has been helping. This is a big thing for me. I'm really bad with conflict, and so that makes it tough, because I'm kind of like, I don't know about scared of conflict, but kind of. It makes me angry, kind of makes me scared, kind of makes me feel like I'm going to cry. But I feel like conflict's really important. So I'm trying to, it's kind of like part of my next goal-ish but part of like more like a theme of my life, right? I'm trying to get a bit better at conflict, right? And engaging in conflict, I guess you could say in a healthy way, but in a way that upholds like my values and whatever. And yeah, so that's that kind of next thing in a way. So yeah, so that's all. So yeah.